It's been sitting here for decades. What do you think? Can we get this one running too? Thanks for watching. I bought this car from the people that own Mud Lake City about 23 years ago. Had intentions on doing some repairs to it, getting it fixed up, and here it sits. Best intentions. But I think it's time we got back on it. These cars have some rather unique features. As you can see, now the tires are flat, but as you can see the front fenders are kind of enclosed, almost like it's got fender skirts on the front, but they're not actually removable. Likewise, the back. You could get fender skirts for these cars, I believe, but this one doesn't have them with it. A very streamlined design, even for the early 1950s. This was a Airflyte is the term that Nash used to describe the design. It's theoretically quite aerodynamic. This is a unibody car. It doesn't have a frame, and that is one of the problems that we have with it. The unibody is not in the best of shape. It sat in a swamp for a number of years, and those have taken their price. Here on this relatively bald rock, I don't think it's really deteriorated too much more, but definitely it is got some issues underneath. You can kind of see out through the floor here in the corner. I don't know how well that shows up for you guys, but that's the ground you're looking at. Some unique features of the Nash. We've got a single gauge pod, kind of like an aircraft style almost. It's aerodynamic, and nothing on the dash, just the instrument pod. It is unfortunately kind of seized up here, but there is a roll top desk type affair cover that's supposed to come down over top of the radio. AM radio is installed there. We do have an ignition key. Another neat feature of these cars is that they don't use a conventional key to start the car. The key is just the switch for the ignition. The way you start it is right beside the clutch pedal. There's a button on the floor. Kind of looks like a high beam, low beam. And there is a high beam, low beam beside it, but that is your start button. There's a heavy duty set of contacts that you can use, and there's a little tab sticking out the side of the clutch pedal that engages with the starter. An optional feature that Nashes were well known for is the reclining bed. This particular car doesn't have that feature, unfortunately, but the idea being, and I'll show a picture of it here, the idea being that the seat would fold down, creates basically a double bed, and it was designed kind of for traveling salesmen. They could sleep in their car rather than having to get expensive $2 or $3 hotel rooms. We've got some door panels that have been modified with fuzzy pink or fuzzy purple. I think someone was planning on doing kind of a custom job on this back in the 70s and just ran out of speed. This is the glove box. It fits underneath the dash. And we've got a few, that appears to be the brake off of our clutch off of a motorcycle. Several interior bits and pieces. That's good to know. And the roof bows are gone. That is unfortunate. We got roof bows. Good news. Unfortunately, they have been removed. Maybe there's enough of a headliner there that we can figure out where they go. Because that is one of the tricks when you're trying to redo a headliner. If the bows have been removed, it's hard to tell where they originally lived. We've got a few extra pieces of chrome or stainless trim that are left laying around here, unfortunately, and broken windows. Some of the projectiles that got used on the windows. Oh, good! We've got our what I'm assuming is an oil bath air cleaner. Some window surrounds. I'm hoping if we dig around in this in the mess here that we will find a bunch more of the trim, maybe some hubcaps. These appear to be the original style Nash wheels. You can see that they've got the clips on there for holding the hubcaps on. Maybe we'll get lucky and there'll be hubcaps buried in the back. The trunk is empty. Gas tank is removed. It's in the back seat. I'm not sure why, but it is. And you can see the script Nash Airflyte. A neat feature, we've got a light that would come on when the trunk was opened, or maybe it's just a reflector. Oh, it's a light. There's a light here that would come on when the trunk was opened, and it would shine out if you were digging your spare tire out of the back in the middle of the night. And as you can see, the back is a little bit Bluetooth. I think this is a common problem with these Nashes. My 47 had the same problem. The tray here at the back was completely rotted out. You know, the seals are gone in the trunk. They're essentially non-existent. So any water hitting the roof would run down and drip onto this tray in the bottom. Let's take a look at the engine and see what kind of parts we're going to have to get to be able to get this thing to fire up and run. Another interesting feature that Nash used on their engines, you'll notice that there's not really an exhaust manifold. The pipe has cutouts in it that bolt to the side of the block. It saves on casting an exhaust manifold. Have to figure out what flavor of carburetor we've got here. Maybe get a carburetor kit. It is a Carter, made in the USA. Carburetor is not seized. That's a good sign. And as we said, the engine's not seized. Here is what appears to be the original color of the car. That is a nice color of blue. That would be really nice to be able to bring back. Well, we got a little bit of corrosion damage here we're going to have to deal with if we want to do anything with this car. This appears to be the heater core. Nash was known for its rather elaborate heating systems. They called it Weather Eye, and Weather Eye conditioned air. It's not air conditioning, it's just Weather Eye conditioned air, and kind of a marketing gimmick. I think we need to get some carb cleaner or brake cleaner and clean off that brass tab. Hopefully that'll give us a number for the carburetor. The tag looks like it's upside down, and I don't really want to mess with it and break it off. But it looks like it might be 69422496, something like that. I'll look in the manual and see what it says this is supposed to be for a carburetor. I think we'll get a kit in, give this thing a fighting chance. Well guys, I think that pretty much answers my questions that I wanted to find out. You know, long ways from having this car able to move under its own steam, but I don't think it's going to take a whole lot to get it running. It turns over, there's oil in it. They might have 12 stuck valves. I don't know. Flatheads are known for sticking valves, so we might have some issues that we got to deal with there. Hopefully, if they are stuck, we can tap them a little bit through the spark plug holes and see if we can get this thing to turn over. But that is going to be for another video. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Greatly appreciate you taking time to watch. If you got this far, you can give me one of those sum up things. Give me a like. Give me some encouragement to get this thing fired up and running, maybe even moving under its own steam. If you haven't already done so, consider subscribing to the channel. Love to have you come back, watch some more videos, and maybe ring that bell icon so you get notified when I post new content. And we'll catch you guys in the next mess. Thanks for watching.